Hello, everyone. You're welcome to the Black Female Entrepreneur Greenwich. We are back at our usual event. I hope you are good to join us. Hello, everyone. You are welcome to the BFEG African Month celebration. As you know, we are all here trying to get this program up and running. It has been very interesting. And I know a lot of you might have been enjoying and following us. Those that are on Twitter, you can watch on BFEG page live on Twitter. You can also watch on YouTube, on BFEG YouTube page, and also on Facebook. So whatever media is easy for you to access, please go on and tune on as you listen to this very interesting conversation about African children in the care system. So myself here will be hosting. I have Nadi in the house. She'll be speaking from the point of a teacher and also as a person that will work with children with special need, and also speaking for our French African colony community. And we have Ogaga all the way from Nigeria. Hello, my dear. We have Ogaga all the way. He's a writer, he's an activist. He has been on top of this topic. You know, everyone has been talking about this. This is my two speakers in the house. Let me give them opportunity to introduce themselves. Over to you, Nadi, if you want to introduce yourself, or you want Ogaga to go before you.
No, I'm open. I'm just
go on, introduce yourself.
Hi. My name is Nadine Hagen. I'm a community development officer. Yes, as you heard, I work with children born with disability. I have raised myself a child born with a congenital disorder. And I'm going to speak tonight, you know, with a great experience in the community as a mother, as a teacher, and as a community leader. That's how I'm going to speak this afternoon. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Nadia. Over to you, Ogaga, in the building.
Yeah, I am Ogaga, Ogenewogaga Onokwakpo, aka Blade OG. Like I'm a writer in Nigeria. I'm an author. I'm a polyglot and a translator. I love dogs. I love animals. So I'm an activist. I'm a good gentleman. So I'm your guy from Africa. And today we'll be dealing with youth. So I'm a youth. Even if I'm on my way to 50 soon, I'm still a youth. And so it's nice having you here for the past 3 weeks. And I hope you enjoy today's show. And I'm hoping Auntie Nadine will be switching to French. Let's not wait towards the end. Because today we're really dealing on something very, very important that touches the Africa. So while you are speaking, Auntie Nadine, I'm just hoping you'll be code switching to French so that they will really...
switching.
I will definitely
missing.
Did you hear
I will
that?
Do that, sorry. Yes, I will definitely. Yes.
We want the code switching today. Code switching.
Definitely.
Oh, guys, today's topic is very interesting, and I am looking forward to it. You know, I also have 2 children with special need, special need is very dear to my heart. It's something that I talk a lot about, that I've campaigned a lot about, and the importance of it. And also children in care. As a community leader over the years, for the past 18 years, I've been working with family, Nigerian family, African family, even the Caucasian family, because within my role in actually looking at children in care, what leads to children being put in care, how parents struggle around this. And also we're gonna actually break this thing down to, you know, when you talk about the care system, do we have care system in Africa? What sort of care system we have? There's this family care system, which Ogaga will be emphasizing on, whereby our loved ones are being giving to our uncle, our aunts, our relatives, for them to stay with them or for them to look after them. And how does that help the child? Do they actually support the child? We see some cases whereby some children end up having scar for life because of staying in the care of a relative or family. And we're going to bring it also back to diaspora, because as we celebrate, we want to actually talk about some of these issues that affect the African community, both in diaspora and in African continent. So we go. Before I go into this conversation today, I want to give a big shout out to all those people that have actually joined in our conversation, in our debate. Like I said to you, we're going to have phase 2 of this conversation coming up in June. We are celebrating the African month, but the African festival starts from the month of June to September, where we have various of our activities. If you go to the Black Female website at www.blackfemaleentrepreneur.greenwich.com, you will see a lineup of events happening, and then you will other events that will be coming up throughout the month. A lot of events will be hosting in the library. Also, the African festival, African Day, happening in Kibrook. Do pop in, go to our website. There's ticket, there's Eventbrite ticket. If you want to be part of this event, if you want to actually contribute to what we are doing at the Black Female Entrepreneur, our aim is to bring, in the diaspora, our aim is to bring African cultural heritage to your doorstep. And in Africa as a continent, our aim is to promote and also raise awareness of some of the challenging issues facing Africa in the continent, and also bring to a lasting solution. Because when we talk about issues like this, we want to look for not just point hand or pointing finger on this is wrong, this is not right, but also we are doing that to also create awareness, to also bring a dialogue, to also bring solution. Because there's no reason of complaining you don't come with solution. When you raise issue, come with solution. What is your suggestion? So that's all our deliberation today. So without wasting too much of your time, like I say, this is the Black Female Entrepreneur Platform. We specialize in supporting Black women in business, and also looking at a lot of the African women that have come into Europe to see how they can become their own boss, see how they can turn their ideas into business, see how we can incorporate our culture into business. Because right now, the African cultural craft work is fading out of the system. And that is what we can see the fashion is going, we can see the music is there, but our craft work is actually disappearing. And one of the aim of the Black Female is to actually incorporate our craft, African craft and art into the curriculum, into schools, into community, and also become a transferable skills because it actually helps in not just promoting the culture, but also create a job opportunity for other people. So I'm going to transfer my mic to Mr. Ogaga. He's going to start this day for us, because I believe he's one of the young ones among myself and Nadi. So as a young person, Ogaga, I'm going to hand over this mic to you for you to talk from the African perspective, because we are looking at supporting African children, empowered African children in care, and also see how we can support African children in care. So in Africa as a whole, I know you're going to use Nigeria as a case study, because most of our speaker here is because whatever big changes happen in Nigeria will actually bring positive change to Africa as a continent, as its own. What is the care system? Do we have a care system in Africa, and what kind of care system do we have? Over to you, okay.
Okay, in Africa, what we have is the cultural and traditional care system, where every child in Africa belongs to the community. If you have a child, the child is not just your own. The child belongs to the community. Your neighbors, the community is expected to bring up a child, not just the parents. So you see, even if a child is doing wrong, even your neighbor, your family members could correct that child. We also have people who could contribute to, like in those days, support a child to go to school. If you see some persons who are in their 70s, 80s will tell you how it was those days. Some people who even went to school, it was their first time, and the whole community ensured they were educated. And so it was said to be what makes Africans who they were or who they are: disciplined, cultured, well-behaved, and caring. But over the past decades, this culture has been eroding. With the technology age, access to television, and then Western kind of culture, you are not seeing people becoming individualistic. Then you're also having children who don't listen. If you're not their father, you're not their mother, and you're trying to correct them, they're like, "You're not my father," that kind of thing. Then you also now have parents too, who are also becoming uncultured and feel the child should not be corrected by others. So it's becoming rampant. I also have this issue where children are being taken, they live with relatives. Some are taken as housemates. You see someone who has a 10-year-old child having a 10-year-old child brought from somewhere else to take care of the home. Why their 10-year-old child is relaxed, well taken care of. The other 10-year-old child, who is brought from relatives or from other persons, are being used to do the entire house chores. They are beaten. If you follow the Nigerian news, it's like an everyday thing where you see children and mates being abused. I think just a few days ago, someone saw a housemate that, I think it was in the news in one of the states, a grown-up girl being taken and sent to primary 3. I think about 18 years old or so, if I'm not mistaken. She's staying with her auntie, and she was taken to primary 3, beaten, brutalized. But some neighbors saw and reported to the authority. And why are these things coming out? Because the Nigerian legislature, let me just put it the government, because the government encompasses the legislature, the executive, and the judiciary. With the passage of the Child Rights Act in Nigeria, although it has not been domesticated in states, because each state is supposed to domesticate the Child Rights Act, especially in the north. Most northern states see it as an affront to their culture, because a child under 18, under the Child Rights Act, cannot be given out in marriage. And so we'll have that challenge in northern Nigeria, So, but down here, most states have domesticated it, and so reports are being made, and individuals who brutalize these ones are being disciplined. But that is the one that comes to the news. That is the one, because, with this age of social media, most times is when somebody records and puts in the social media that the authorities get to know about and take serious. Now, that's not to say we don't have few persons who bring in people and you will not even know the difference. You will not know the difference between their children and these ones that are brought from relatives or from persons. Now, you also have some of these people, you have certain states where, I won't mention states yet, but you have certain states where people use it as business. Because of the poverty rate in those states, parents give up their children to go out as housemates to people in the cities. Now, you have these people who bring, and they have their courts. So maybe if the child is being paid, if the person is paying 15,000 naira, that person takes maybe 5,000 and sends 10,000 to the child's family. The child stays there, does not go to school, is physically abused, sometimes sexually abused, but none of those money goes to the child. I've seen so many moved after. In fact, the trend is what they do is they keep them with a particular person for 1 year. After a year, they take the person, move that child again to another family. And so the child becomes a business. And so it's difficult for the government to act. The government can only act if such information is reported. Sadly, even some of these people that should report or should implement these things also employ the services of these mates. So you see children who still sell in the streets, not for their parents. If you ask many of them, they aren't hawking for their parents, but hawking for their aunties and other relatives that brought them to the city. In our time, we were hawking for our parents. I hawked for my parents. I sold akara. I sold the plantain. But because I was with my parents, this was only done on weekends, only on a Saturday. And our mom would do the rest. But imagine people who go outside their parents. You see them hawking every day. They'll go to school late. When I was teaching, you see lots of them come to school very late and tattered. They are not well fed. And even after school, they don't have time to do their homeworks. They will still have to go and do other chores and still hawk. So it's a serious issue, a serious issue. So this can only be mitigated, one, through education. If, like I mentioned, the Akwa Ibom State, when we're talking about education, where they take it seriously in Akwa Ibom for the children to complete their basic education before you take them out. Today in Nigeria, you can hardly see an Akwa Ibom child doing housemaid. Remember I spoke about that the last time. You can hardly see them because it is compulsory. The state government takes it serious down to the local, to the communities, because it's a serious crime for you to to pull out a child in school. And so you now see these kids being empowered, like in Akwa Ibom. Once they are done with their secondary school, imagine a 17-year-old child, you want to take that child for housemaid, they won't accept. They're already empowered, they come to the cities and they are selling for themselves. They are entrepreneurs for themselves because they can cook. They can hawk things for themselves. So if the Child Right Act can be taken seriously by other state governments, this would reduce greatly. Because it's not even safe. Taking your child to go and live with people. They won't take your child like their child. Only very few people do that. Sadly, you will see these people, most of them are even very religious people. Very religious people. Even when you see them in the religious centers, you would know the difference between their children and those, but nobody takes it serious. I remember a social media post that trended recently too, I think about last month or past 2 months. A woman took her children to a fast food joint, and the housemaid, I think, not really, let me still call housemaid, kept the girl a distance from the children. She was sitting alone, looking lost, while the woman and her children sat and they were eating very well. Somebody noticed it in the restaurant and started recording and approached the girl. The girl was about between 10, 13. And said, "Who is that?" Said, "That's my auntie." "So why are you not eating with them? Why are you not sitting with them?" She said, I shouldn't sit with them. I should stay here. The man asked, are you hungry? She said, yes. Would you like to eat? She said, yes. So the man approached the woman, and the woman became very rude. Like, how is it your business? Is she complaining? But the man said, she said she's hungry. She would like to eat. In front of the camera, she started beating the girl and took her children and the girl, dragged them out of the place. So the main solution, like I said, is for the various state government to take the Child Rights Act seriously. And those states that have not passed the Child Rights Act to take it seriously. And parents should realize that they are the best persons to bring up their children. No matter the level of poverty, your child will grow better with you. Many of us came from poverty, but we did better. We didn't die. And so it's wrong for parents to send their children out for money. A child that is below 18 years. That's one. It is also wrong. It is also wrong for people to take in these people and treat them bad. It's an offense under the Child Rights Act. If you are bringing in a child into your home, the best thing to do is give that child education, give that child care, because that child won't forget you. I know a couple I visited some time ago. Their maid, you will never know it is a maid. If they are going on vacation to South Africa, they carry that maid from Nigeria to South Africa. And you think that maid will forget them tomorrow. Then another problem we also have is people bringing in these people and not even monitoring their children, because some of these children you bring into your home could end up endangering your own children. Especially when you are not even treating them rightly. You're not feeding them. And you cook and leave. You leave them in the care of your children. And you think they are happy. They could harm your children. They could harm you. That idea of putting cameras in your house to monitor. What if you put camera in your house before you come? They've killed your child. They've poisoned your child. Mm. The camera just shows that. So you need to protect yourself and you need to take care of those you bring in your home. And we need to also know that it is wrong to bring in people. Now, sometimes some of these children, let me also touch this because it's also a complex issue. Yeah. Imagine someone, you see a family, maybe in the village, they are really suffering, the poverty is strong, no education. Yeah. You could help like adopting, even if it is not official. You want to bring that child home. There could be nothing wrong, but for you to do that, to protect both yourself and to protect that child, the government needs to be aware. We need to get to a point where papers will need to be signed, approvals will need to be given. If I want to go and bring in my sister's child from the village, I should be able to inform the Ministry of Women Affairs and Child Social Welfare. We need to get to that point, because when you know you go through that procedure, like adopting a child, that I'm bringing this, so I've gotten the approval from the government. You know, once you sign those things and you get an approval, you know you're being monitored. You know you'll be held accountable if you do not provide education to that child. You know you'll be held accountable if you harm that child. And so once you are able to take care of that child, you know the consequence, the responsibility. There's nothing wrong. Definitely. So that's my point for now. Welcome, Auntie Gorethi.
Hello. Thank you very much. Hello. Hello, Auntie. How are you?
This is my DFEG CEO. God, she's taking it out of me. Huh? It's not for the wicked. I'm not wicked. I'm very nice. How are you?
I'm fine, Andy. We're glad that you're able to join us today. It's very important because I think this is your area of specialty. As a teacher, I work in school and as a community advocate for young people. I know this is your area. I'm going to come back to you. I just want to go back to add, I would like to go back to, let me see. I want to go back to you, Ogaga. You know, okay. you talk again in the area, because I've actually jotted down some few things I'm going to ask you. You actually analyze some of the care system we have. There's the informal one. I know we have the formal one, which people don't practice. You talk about the child rights. Is it the child arts?
Child rights arts.
The child rights arts, which sometimes people don't follow. I want to go back to one of the important things that you pick, that in the area of the system that we have, the care system we have in Africa, that actually you say it take the village to raise the child, which we must acknowledge that was a good system. Where family, when there's something happen, family will want to come together and want to support, help to raise the child. Even though the child parents is still there, they find out that the mother or the father is struggling to raise that child. Maybe the child is having challenges. People in the community, the family and friends will come together, which is a very strong African child care system we have. And this system, nobody asks you to pay. People just voluntarily want to do it to support the child, which we actually applaud the African community for putting the system in place. But you also touch about the area whereby when this informal childcare system, where family and friends take their children to their relative, maybe because of poverty, or they want the child to go and get a better life. Maybe they want the child to go and learn a skill, or they want the child to go and live somewhere else. Mostly it's when it comes to poverty, where people cannot afford to look after their child, or they felt maybe where the child is, the child will not get more opportunity. Then this child is being informally handed over to their family or their relative or their friends. And this child, some of them, they might go there when they are very young, maybe 6 years, 7 years, and they go and stay with relative. They stay with relative for so many years. And there is no single contact. You find out that even the person that takes this child from the relative, he now become a god, because he's managing to, he's the one keeping the child, he's feeding the child, then he'll go back and give the parents some few money. They now become Alpha and Omega. They become king.
Exactly.
Even though when the parent find out that the child is being maltreated, the parents are scared to speak. I want you to talk in this area. These are crime committed by family members. And when you talk about crime committed by family members, sometimes it's very difficult. It's not being reported. And we know it's still happening, where family member, uncle, auntie, friend take children from their relative. Sometimes they send a child to school, sometimes they send a child to school. You make emphasis that this family member will bring a 10-year-old child to their house. And they themselves also have a 10-year-old child. They even have a younger child. They even have a child that is older than the 10-year-old child. But this 10-year-old child that they take from their uncle, their auntie, will not actually become the servant, the slave of the house.
Exactly.
Can you help me? Can you please just put more light? Because I want people to know about, because this is happening, and it happens every day in people's family. When will the government decided to say this informal way should be registered? People should be made accountable when they find out that this is happening, and families should be persecuted. Because we come to say whereby family are not being persecuted, but you are actually violating that child right. Can you put a light on that, please?
Okay, like I said, the first step the government did, which is laudable, is passing the Child Rights Act, which is laudable and is working in some states, in a few states. And that's where the civil society come in. Advocacy organizations need to go beyond advocacy, need to have their presence in communities, in the rural areas, because most of these children are being taken from rural areas. And so if we have civil societies that are on ground in the various communities, then we get this information. And these civil societies, organizations need to get people who are members of the communities involved in their organizations so that they get feedbacks from them, because these are people who live in the communities. So when a child is taken away from the community, they know. And they need to go further by pressing on the government to make this formal. Like we're saying now, this is what they should do. Insist that this Child Rights Act should go beyond the scope it has now by ensuring that it is formal. You don't even need another act. To me, the Child Rights Act has covered everything possible. It's just for the various state governments, especially lobby the wives of these state governors, because that is basically what most of them do. The wives of the governors take it upon themselves to once they hear this, they escalate it and ensure the police do their work. For example, in Edo State where I am, the first lady did not hear that there is a rape issue. I think even is it Abia too. Even the commissioners of women affairs, once they hear, they take it upon themselves. But how do they hear? Only issues that are escalated in the social media, that trends. And to me, it's only 1% of these issues that trend. For example, we even have an issue that is on ground now. If you check the internet, that is trending. A young man of 32 take the daughter to a hotel. A daughter of less than, I think, is it between 3 and 5 years old or so? I can't get the exact age. But that child, I don't think is beyond 5 years old. Strips this daughter naked and records the daughter. The nude girl, and this is like the video. I've not watched it. I know the Google should be blocking it. I don't even want to watch it. He has been arrested. I think he has been brought down to Benin now. Recording the 5-year-old, a 32-year-old man. He records and is posting it. Don't know whether he has a mental issue or not, but he records and posts. This is just 1%. We have issues where parents and fathers are raping their daughters. How many do we hear? Only the one that is escalated in the social media. And these ones are arrested. But how about the other 99% that is unheard of? You have rape issues, abuse issues that families will say this is a family issue. They cover it. That's a big challenge. And so you imagine a parent who sends out the 7-year-old child out to other relatives or to people who pay them for jobs. Other family members keep mute. But if the civil societies, this is where they come in. if they take it serious and have contact persons in every community. Civil society organizations in Nigeria attract a lot of funds to themselves. NGOs attract a lot of funds to themselves. But sad to say, majority of these societies are not people who are passionate about this. All these things they do. That's why you see there's a failure in advocacy. These funds they are attracting is to themselves. You see the kind of cars they drive. You see the kind of houses they are building. They are not interested in the people, but they look at it. If I'm doing a HIV NGO, if I'm doing a civil society on youth, on child welfare, people overseas will be sympathetic. They are registered, funds will come. And so one day they just release a press statement. Tell me, you have had this, like this issue that is trending now. The young man that's taking that is taking nude pictures of the daughter. You've had fathers that are raping their underage children, even grown-up children. You have people that are abusing people who are staying with them. These issues, this little 1% I say that is escalated in the social media. How many civil society has made any statement on it? They haven't. How many of them have followed up to see that the case to the end? How many of these civil societies have gone to villages? How many have we seen evidence that they went to villages to educate the people on what the Child Rights Act does? The government has done its own job to pass the Child Rights Act. And I know, yes, maybe civil societies would have also played a role on that. But after it was passed, what are they doing? Enjoying the legacy of the money they have. They succeeded. So in their CV, perhaps they succeeded in lobbying the Child Rights Act. That's where it ends. So until people who are passionate, for example, you have a child with disability. Because you have a child with disability, you're passionate about it. If today you start an NGO to advocate on with children with disability, you will put your all because you don't want to see other children go through that. You want to see results. At the end of every year, when you are carrying out your audits, you want to see how many children did you rescue, did you save? You want to look at what is the perception of this community on the Child Rights Act. Is there an improvement? Like that of Akwa Ibom, I said, you will know that what the government did, there is a result in it, because you will not find people from Akwa Ibom doing housemaid underage again. You will not see them in Nollywood being used as housemaid. In Nollywood movies, you won't see that again because it has changed. So governments cannot do everything. That is where the civil society comes in. So we need to have people who have gone through this to take charge of these civil societies. If I want to sponsor a civil society today, I want to look at what is the CV of those who are pushing these civil societies. What is their story? What is their background? And do I want to monitor? Because there's corruption in that. If that corrupt aspect of it is not taken care of, we not have passionate people. So those who are also funding, perhaps something is also wrong. Are they funding it with a genuine heart? If they are they really monitoring it? Are they sending people? I remember, let me just give you an instance. You know, I advocate for HIV. If you look at my first novel, was even on HIV/AIDS advocacy. So right from my school days, I was involved in it. So we have this HIV, these funders who were coming from abroad. So they were going to ask us questions. And so we had a meeting, they invited me. They did not even pre-inform me. They did not tell me what to say and what not to say. And so these people were asking questions. And I said, in my school, we don't have this, we don't have that, we don't have advocacy materials, we don't have, I just laid that out. To me, I was thinking that would even help the organization to attract funds, and we have these facilities. When the people left, these people turned against me. Somebody visited me in my school and said, I want her mother to lose her job. Why would I go and say the things I said? Which means money had been given for these things, which means they were using all the work I was doing with my own money in my school. The little allowance I get from my parents, I was carrying advocacies from faculty to faculty, mobilizing students with my own fund. I did not ask for a fund. I only said I needed material. We don't have these materials, which means they probably must have put it in their reports. Why am I giving this example? That's how they cut me off. In fact, at the end of the day, they sponsored some students to take me out of an organization I started with my fund and doing with my fund. And this is the African Nigeria story. So until our civil societies become passionate and serious, they can assist the government in doing these things.
Thank you, Gaga. Thank you.
But before I go, so I don't forget, I'm talking about Nigeria. Some time ago, I read about Mali. This is their system, where they're taking people, you have people, I never knew we still have slavery in Africa by Africans. So if it is somewhere like in Mali, I don't know whether I need to do further research and updated research. But when I read it then, I was shocked. And it's the same system you have in Lebanon. We had a Nigerian lady in Lebanon who went for housemaid, and they were maltreating her. Someone had to help her, put her on Facebook to free her. I don't know the name. I can't remember the name they call that system. I think it's also practiced in Mali. So that this person is like the person has bought you. You cannot be free. So they have to pay that person so much money to free them. And the government said their hand was tied because it was a law, it was a system. Same thing you have in somewhere in Mali. So when they take in these people, including children, you become a slave for life. And so even when this child grows up, that child continues to serve the slave master's children, grandchildren. His children does the same thing. And so these are things that, apart from Nigeria, the larger CSOs in Africa would need to lobby the ECOWAS Commission to do this. And can the ECOWAS Commission be effective? As it is now, the ECOWAS Commission can't be effective in taking care of these matters. They are more interested in taking care of political issues. Why is it so? Because the ECOWAS Parliament is more made up of politicians. Imagine Nigerian parliamentarians are members of ECOWAS Parliament. How can you serve multiple parliaments? You are a parliamentarian in Nigeria. You are now also a parliamentarian in the ECOWAS Parliament. Some are members of the African Parliament. The ECOWAS Parliament should be able to elect its own parliamentarians. The African Parliament needs to elect its own parliamentarians. These people will begin to take serious the African issues like we are talking about. Not our regular politicians. It won't work. So that's my take.
Thank you very much. And I really echo what you say about the African parliamentary system, the ECOWAS. That should be done by civilians, ordinary people in the community, not getting politician or one government official sitting down there. You know, you cannot, there has to be division of labor. Thank you very much. I'm going to go to Nadine, then I'll come back to Adi. Nadine, I want you to emphasize on the area of children with special needs. The care system in Africa, does it actually accommodate children with special needs? Over to you.
Thank you so much, Lucy. I am greeting every single person connected at this debate tonight or this conversation. I want to commend Ogaga because my husband was listening and he said the guy is good. He knows, he has the ground information and he's talking from knowledge. This is the narrative of Africa. Okay, this is the narrative of Africa. And before I answer your question, I wanted to ask Ogaga, the Child Right Act, because you know, we know that here in the UK, the Children Act, or where is called Every Child Matter, it came out. Every Child Matters came out after a specific case, you know, and I want to believe that maybe the Chibok girls brought the Child, you know, Act, but you know, what does that cover? Because we need to speak out of the way our society is. We don't have a social services. It's well and good for the government to bring us a social policy that they can't cover physically, because if you have a social policy, you need to have money to put in that social policy. I'm sorry, I'm going to be critical. That's what I learned in school, because if you cannot put money to cover for that needs, don't put it out. Okay? Now, talking about children born with disability, we are talking here about, we are going to be careful not to use the word normal, because I strongly believe that if a woman has carried a child 9 months in her belly, it's because that child has a destiny on this earth. Sometimes people cry, oh, I've had a miscarriage, oh, I have a disabled child, I have this, I have that. A woman, if you're listening to me tonight, si tu m'écoutes ce soir, toi qui es femme, j'ai envie de te dire que si Dieu t'a donné 9 mois, une grossesse, c'est le miracle. A pregnancy, giving birth is miracle. Whether that child comes with 1 ear, 1 arm, whatever, he was strong enough to make the 9 months. Because a miscarriage means that that child was not strong enough to even do 2, 3 months. So when you have a child born with disability, these children are, you know, God-given children. And any mother with a child born with disability must understand that God has sent that child to make you discover your strength, to make you discover who you are and what you can do. Ogaga mentioned that, you know, if you're not passionate, you cannot get up and do anything. Mothers of disabled children, because they have one case in their house, they can then rise and do for other vulnerable children as well. I'm going to come to the case of children born with disability. When your child is born with any disability, you don't even see these children in Africa. They are hidden because culturally, the mom cheated, the mom or the grandmother is a witch, or dad is a wizard. That is a punishment. Most of these children, they keep them. Some of them, they kill them. The first minute they realize you don't talk, the first minute they realize you're funny, you are a spirit. We are very, 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 very ignorant. We are so ignorant that we don't even cater for the very thing that God has given to us. Okay, now you have different type of disability. You have the physical one and you have the mental one. That is the unseen disability. When a child is mute, he just has this severe, because autism is a spectrum. It's from one end to the other. So when that child is not speaking, it's because he's at that end of spectrum where he's serious and he's not speaking. Most of the time, we need to talk about the two society, because mothers are giving birth to children born with disability, children with challenges. They take those children to Africa. They tell them, go and watch them. I've had children in my school that were taken every year in Ghana to go to this river to go and wash them for one thing or the other. The boy will come back. He will continue to do epilepsy. He will continue to, undress himself whenever, however. So this washing in, all these things does not work. So imagine then a mother who is quite enlightened in the UK, take the child to go and wash him in Africa. So imagine those who are in Africa. The mother is sad because she will live for the rest of her life with the sorrow that she brought something that is a curse, something that is not valued, something that, oh my God, 9 months of a woman is something. God cannot let you come on this earth if you have nothing to do. I'm telling you, I've seen children with cerebral palsy. You see life. You cannot quench that life. You cannot. There is life in them. There is life. So if our children are used as slaves, Ogaga was talking about Mali and this and that. If your father is in business or is into anything, because the root of all this is poverty. He has not been able to pay somebody. He hasn't got money. He will look in his house. You guys are cattle, you are nobody. Your dogs and cows and, they sell you easy. This is culture. This is how our culture and customs are bad. Your dad will carry you and give you. Not to talk about the mothers who are giving their children to excision, to female genital mutilation. Your mother will take you to that cruelty. So, these are beliefs, these are customs. So our children born with disability in Africa, sometimes, again, I say disability rhyme with money. If you're rich, you can give your child a little bit of something. But if you're poor, come on now, that child, will end up, because last week we were talking about something, I joined the conversation quite late. You see the so-called mad people that we see outside. This is mental health. This is the dysfunctionality of the brain that was not treated, and it ends up like that into madness. So we see all these young girls. And again, even today, ADHD in girls is very difficult to be discovered, because the boy will be jumping up and down, but a girl will have it in a form of depression, in a form of anxiety. So she won't be able to, show what the boys will be able to show. So, we are talking about, child right, blah, 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 blah. The child born with disability, even in the UK. I tell you, I'm talking to you about BME. When a child is born with a disability, the name of the family becomes that family who has a child. Most of the time, people don't want their name to be associated with the child. So if they can hide the child, they are going to hide the child. Okay? Even here in the UK, where the children can have all the help, the children can be looked after, the children can have everything. Parents are still hiding the children here because it comes from the old behavior. We are coming from home with this behavior. We come here, you can go to the GP, you can have everything, but no. We are talking about civil societies and NGOs. Come on now, excuse me, I'm sorry. If you go to all restaurants, when we go to Africa to do the work we do, they are the one eating all the big prawns, they are the one eating all the big chickens and driving all the big cars. They are not there for us. I'm sorry. They are not there for us. I say it, and I'll say it again and again and again, because I've seen them. They don't care. Okay? Look, you need to know that for somebody to have a civil society, a civil society organization or an NGO, they wrote, a plan for what they want to do. And they are working with their friends. They are working with people who can bring them cases. that will continue to give them funding. People are sitting here in the UK and sending money to organizations, and our children are walking barefoot, are being raped day in and day out. They've been used as sacrifice because children born with disability, as they believe that they are wizard and whatever, they are using them. They are killing them every day. They are using their blood. They are using anything that you want to imagine, because they believe that they are spirits. How can you have a human being that doesn't speak? How do you have a human being that suddenly can get angry? This is autism. This is mental health. Anyway, I'm going to stop here and allow someone else to speak.
Thank you very much, Nadine. Before I bring in Adi, you make emphasis on the special need kids and parents being the #1 advocate for the child. From your experience, I know you've been to Africa, you've done a lot of projects in Africa, you travel a lot of the Francophone countries, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, Ivory Coast, Benin. You've gone to all those places to speak to those women. Do you think there's enough information for parents to understand that when they have a disabled children, that this is the reason why this child was disabled, and how can they support that child to have a good life? Do you think there's enough information?
Lucy, thank you so much, because, you know, sometimes when you come at a platform like this, you have so much to say and you don't. You know, I am still till today in the UK here, but I think some of the information are beginning to be, you know, collected as journals, you know, for research. You see, there's so much abuse. You see, we were talking about earlier, I wanted to say that, you know, this slavery, you know, this mistreatment that a child, you know, the child have been so poor, so broken. I'm telling you, the child comes inside of you. The child becomes what he finds in the inside of the belly of the mother. From us here in the diaspora, look at all the mothers with, children with autism, suffering, fear. You don't have any paper. You know where you're coming from. The man is beating you every day. You don't even know when your next food is coming. The child is in your belly.
Trauma.
It's taking all this. Thank you. So for me, so far, although I am sure there are already reports, but nobody knows that, because, as you know, when a man beats you in Africa, sometimes you think is love. You understand? Or this suffering that you're suffering, sometimes you just think that is normal. There are women, even when they are pregnant, the level of trauma, the level of suffering, the child is taking it, because we are talking about the brain. This one, the cognitive, the heart, and this, they are connected. When there is any dysfunctionality, it stems from the mother. And I want to talk to an African mother tonight. Je veux te parler à toi, maman africaine. Take care of yourself. Prends soin de toi quand tu es enceinte. L'enfant, c'est ton enfant. The child is your child. Sometimes we run. Oh, he's not taking care of the child. These men, sometimes is women feeding them. So know that you are the leader. I talk about the 3-dimension woman. When any man succeeds, is his mom, his sister, or his wife. So women, I want you to rise. However be your child, it is our responsibility. We are running everywhere. Oh, the father is not there. The father is not there. The father is not there. Continue to just destroy the boy or the girl. Women, we must rise. The moment you fall pregnant, however, rape, however, know that the future of that child is with you. Any stress, anything that you would take, the child brain will take it. We need to know that. That we need to know. So giving me, telling me, Nadine, have you answered? I cannot answer, because I don't have a tangible report telling you that this organization have said this, but from observation, from myself, my son is born with a congenital disorder of the bowel. What does that mean? What does that mean? I went to court. I was 7 months pregnant with my daughter. So from all that time that, you know, I was in this country with my children, trauma, fear. When they knock on your door, you think they are coming to deport you. Why don't you want your children to be born with anything or the other? And look at the or sometimes the demography of mothers with disabled children. We are all migrant, we are all BAME, we are all BME. You know, we are all suffering trauma from where we come, from the time you travel to come here, you're here in security, and you fall pregnant, and you know, you don't know where your next bread is coming. Why don't you want to have? And so imagine you are in the country with civilization. So imagine Africa. That's why we are just, I don't know, but
thank you very much, Nadine. I really connect with your take on that, because I will talk from my own experience. I have a child with autism. I have 2 children with autism, and I can relate well with when you talk about migrant community. A lot of us, they talk about back home. We're going to center it back here. When you see a lot of us that have children with special needs, if you go back to our story, this is something I would like the UK government to look into. A lot of us that have children with special needs, if you go back to our history, they need to do a consultation on this issue. You know, they need the government need to actually call for a seminar. The health people need to do a research. They need to speak to us.
Yes. When I went to the Royal London Hospital when my son was born, there must be something that is going on in London for us in terms of food, in terms of trauma, in terms of black girl from Africa, a Jamaican woman was there, an Indian woman was there, and a British woman. I'm telling you, the full spectrum. It means that there's something happening to us here in this London. You know, those who are going through domestic violence, those who are going through immigration issue, those who are going through poverty, because there's poverty in London, let's not lie. There's poverty in London. I'm telling you, you're going to see a lot of these women, bowel problem, autism. Why? Why inside? Why is the inside not working? I just wanted to add that.
Thank you, because you can tell from that, if they carry out a research, you'll find out that majority of us that have had the children with care, if it's development where the child is not, well, we know there is a family history, that is one side, but also the child, if the child does not develop well, the child is gonna have disability. If you're a migrant, somebody that do not have right to remain, you don't have papers, don't have anything, you cannot walk, you are living in a domestic violent family, you are not able to access anything, you cannot buy food, you cannot eat good food, you are living overcrowded, you cannot sleep properly. There's a lot of trauma that can affect you, your thinking, affect the way your child is being formed in your womb. So there needs to be a research on that, because if we are not handling those issues, we will continue to have and I am happy to be part of this research. And I believe myself, Nadine, with other women, we want to be part of this research, to look at our journey. Look at our story. You will find out that we have similar history, similar journey. And then when we have our children, we discover our children have this need. So we're going to come back to that. I'm going to go straight to Adi. Adi, from a teacher perspective, what role do you think a teacher should play in the care system for children in Africa? Because now some of the children go to school, some of them do not go to school, even though they are not going to school. As a teacher, I believe you have, if you're a teacher in Africa, you should have a duty of care. You understand? You should have that duty of care, that if you see any young child on the road that does not go to school, you should raise it with the local authority. You should have that duty of care, that if a child is coming to your school and you can see that the child is traumatized, or you can see that the child is not well kept, you should be able to investigate. You should be able to liaise with the school authority. So what role do you think teachers should be playing in the care system for children in Africa? Over to you.
Okay, very much. And good evening to all the panel present. Lucy, I don't want to say that you live in a that you live in this, where everything will work according to law, according to, function. Nadine has used the word dysfunctional. She used it twice. And that was when Ogaga was talking, if I could call you chief, if you don't mind, that your cap up there and your, so Chief Ogaga, that's the name I've given you, with all due respect. The dysfunctional comes from the fact that the society of Africa itself is dysfunctional. We talk about money, we talk about tradition. I wrote down tradition for me. Nadine mentioned culture, and Ogaga also went that way. But I picked out tradition for myself, right? I'm going to pick on Nadine's comment on England, and then I'm going to ask a question that I hope you people will answer me, because I've asked it several times. I've only asked it to my family and all that. So, as a teacher in Nigeria or in other parts of the world, you are answerable to your principal, yes, to the head of school. It's even worse if you are in a private one now, that everybody has a private university, everybody has a private school. And I'm sure you must have all been hearing stories about the things that are going on in those private schools and all that. So yes, oh, fantastic, there's a child, act in Nigeria. The people who are involved in those acts will get the money, and as Ogaga rightly said, divert it to other things. And nobody is a whistleblower in Nigeria, because they all end up being guilty of that same offense. So the money, the intentions are good. There was this minister that was talking the other day. She's a woman in Tinubu's whatever. And I was just laughing at her. I said, yeah, madam, stay there. I know talk is cheap. What are they? Who? I'm asking you, who? We all have intentions. NGOs, name it. Who is going to actually use that money for what they need to use it for? Who? We are employing PAs in this place. Oh God, they're even all over the place in school now. And you know that even principals, if you remember our radio program, Lucy, I mentioned it. Principals are even using TAs to whistleblow on teachers in the classroom. I find that really, really devastating. But anyway, put that aside. We're still talking about children. So like in Nigeria, who is going to do it? Now, you must have heard about the pastor who has been raping the daughter for years. He's a redeemed pastor. I'm sorry to say, okay, redeemed. Yes, raping the daughter for years. The girl has committed abortion twice or something like that. She's underage. The mother says, hush, hush. It's a disgrace to the family. Are they thinking about the life of that child? The child went to the governor of Lagos State. I think maybe the case is still on. So we're talking about a society where the teacher cannot even, like Ogaga said, he used his money to establish things, cannot even in certain institutions come out and say, I think this child has got a problem, the school should address it. We need to have, intervention for this child. The principal would say, shut up. I speak Nigerian now. Shut up. Is it your mother? Is it your child? Is it your brother? Don't bring bad name to my school. Leave the child. If he pass, he pass. What would you expect that teacher to do, Lucy? She's scared for her job, so she won't talk. Some of the ones who can't pass the exam is due to some of these problems that nobody is ready to address in Nigeria out of fear that the principal knows the permanent secretary of education, the permanent secretary knows the commissioner of education, and that one knows senator this, senator that. They're all taking money. So what do I'm telling you that the teachers' hands are tied. Like in this country, we are doing safeguarding, aren't we? Let me come to England. What do they tell you to do with safeguarding? You see anything that is unusual, report it straight away. Don't wait till tomorrow. Do we have a system like that in Nigeria to empower teachers? And if you say, and if nobody comes to you to say, oh, why did you say that? No, the safeguarding will take care of it. And there are little things that you have to do. A dirty child who comes to school every day. How many dirty children go to school, according to Nadine said, without shoes? Isn't that poverty having an effect mentally on that child? What will the teacher do? Is it the teacher that is going to go to the principal? Oh, this boy didn't have breakfast. Oh, when he didn't come to school. Do you want to lose your job? So they are now learning to have this, upper stiff lip that we say here. So the teacher, even when they identify something or when they hear, the gossip that goes on, they can't go and it's a dysfunctional society. And like Ogaga said, except, I don't know, where is the miracle? I was talking to my brother. My brother is here. I was talking to my brother and I was saying, goodness gracious, how can God, because God is the only one that we look at, that he's got all the powers to do and undo, to shut down. Look at what he did to Aaron in the Bible. If it starts raining now, no head of state will stop it. If it's going to rain for 40 days, no weatherman will stop that rain. So we have to look to that divine intervention has to come to get our countries, Africa, straight, first of all, straightened, to take away incest, according to what he said. What that man was doing was pure incest. Okay, after taking the photo, he puts up the camera. Do we know what he did to the child? Before he takes the child away. After taking all that photos, when the child is dressing up, has his hands had business, or while that child was naked, was the functions in him okay? We didn't know all of that. So those are the things that even you are a teacher living in that thing they call face me, I face you, or something like that. Yeah. And your neighbor in the night, mama has, okay, maybe is a nurse or something like that. Something is going on.
I beg you.
You can't why? Because there's this fetishism, fetishness as well. So there are a lot of things that dysfunctional society needs to address first from the government. Even the government people are taking the money and diverting it to something else and won't do the project. And if you go and complain, you will lose your job. Somebody was by though, because I know YouTube doesn't allow those emotive words. Somebody was spied for just telling the truth. They went to the house, locked him, these Yahoo boys, locked him in the room and burnt him because he went to the government to tell the truth. Look. Except that is addressed, the teacher, the community, whoever, the NGOs don't, even I know Lucy has an NGO. I don't trust most NGOs in Nigeria because most of them are going in there just for the money. Not all of them, not just for the money. So that is my answer to your question, that teachers are in a position where their hands are tied, are unable to do much. So I take you to the Igbo traders who get all these young people who should be in school learning the trade so that they will be established later. Are you even hearing that some of them are not established later? They want to enslave them till doomsday or till they die. Where are those parents?
Exactly.
Exactly. Those parents are hoping that this is my breadwinner. So they can't talk. We have talked about that earlier, so I don't want to go further to that.
I think
No, I want you to emphasize on that.
Yeah, I know you'll be interested because Lucy spoke about this in the last program.
Yeah, Adi, I want you to emphasize on that, because this is something we call it apprenticeship, which there's nothing wrong in a child going to do apprenticeship. It's a good thing. But over the years, we've seen children going to do apprenticeship and end up becoming a slave for the person that is actually they call their master.
And it's out of greed.
And some of these people are family member.
Yeah, but because they had promised that they will establish them, and of course, with the way that Naira is going, by the time they finish the apprenticeship, the money that they probably budgeted to do the establishment or something is probably 10 times the amount. And therefore, sorry, you become enslaved. Your hands are tied.
Yeah, so but is there a law? Okay, I'm going to come to you. This apprenticeship thing that is, we have them in tailoring, we have them in mechanic, we have them. Yeah. Is there any law in the system? Because there's a lot of young children that are involved.
No law in the country. Again, we're talking about dysfunctional society. There is no law in the country that addresses all of. There's no ministry, and even if there's a ministry, look. You know, I'm so passionate when I talk about Nigeria. I am so passionate, not because I've lived in England, but you see, Lucy, it comes from a lot of family upbringing, the ethos of your family, your beliefs in your family, the way your parents have brought you up to be greedy. You grow up to become a greedy person. I mean, so many other things I can go into. It's not part of this, but that is where some of that emanates from. If you are in an apprenticeship in this country, you are likely to even just walk into a job when you finish. Yes, we are even telling a lot of kids now, you don't need to go to university really if you don't want to go, because the apprenticeship has a way of getting you into, I will even confess it. My son said to me, oh yeah, you Africans, you must get a degree, you must get a degree. You know, if I went and did an apprenticeship, you know, I probably would have been rich by now, you know. But this is something that the government now is seeing, that not every child is academic, which is why I think I mentioned it last time. We used to have vocational education, didn't we? Vocational education that is taught in schools. What's that one they used to call it? The cooking one had a name.
Home economics.
Home economics, you know. And if girls will definitely benefit from it. All these men now that are wanting to become chefs, they are even more male chefs than women matrimonially. So you are even preparing that child, that girl, for her matrimonial life, and how to bring up her children and all the rest of it, and run a home effectively and efficiently. So those are the things that have been cut off from Nigeria. There was even something in education, they said that they've stopped. And I just had my hands in my head. I said, oh my God, who are these ministers? Can I go teach them a lesson? You know, what are they thinking? There are things that will be done from the grassroots to help build that country back. And most of the people who are in power are all greedy. So very quickly, let's talk about, I've told you about that pastor. Now remember, even the churches, is that pastor not a church person? Great. We have more churches in Nigeria than anywhere else in the world. I saw the statistic there. Are these churches not supposed to look after these kids in terms of their charity? What use the money to do then? Yes, an autistic child or a very ADHD child who goes to, what do they call them now? Children classes. What do they call them now? Okay. When
Sunday school.
Sunday school.
The director of the Sunday school or the pastor that is even in charge of the will just push the child away and say, oh, you are disturbing me. Instead of, okay, they pray, they fast. Can they stop fasting and praying for that child if they believe in faith? That child can change. So the responsibility lies on all of us. However, there is no leadership. Because if there's leadership who can direct, can you imagine Ogaga having spent his money? How did they manage to push him out? Who paid him back his money? And all that, do you think he will be here with us on this program? He wants to spoil their business. You know, this is the problem. Then there was the final question I want to put up. You know, when we have children in Nigeria, who center?
Sorry?
When we have children in Nigeria, who do they give the placenta of the child, of the mother?
The parent.
The parents, isn't it? All of you that had children in this country, all of us that had, where are our children's placenta? I asked that question. I think it was a revelation for me, really. Who takes our placenta of our children in hospitals? Are they giving fathers? No. Do you know where they give them? No. Is that not part of tradition again, culture, but that actually assists with the destiny of that child? As soon as our kids are born, they've whisked them out. They say they can't breathe. They whisk them out with gas, whatever, into those rooms to help them. They will keep them in the hot room before they go to cold room for weeks and all that. Do we know what happens to our kids there? We don't know. Then by the time they start growing up here, there's that problem. Not to talk about a country where there isn't even a good hospital system to have a child. That teacher is part of the society. So whether those that want to do good, my brother's wife was the principal of the school. They do WAEC. The government money, let me just say, 4,000 naira, or maybe 400 naira to get to register. Most of the other principals were collecting 10,000 from parents. She refused to collect because the government said this, and that is what it should be. One even questioned her. What are you trying to do? You are trying to show that you are. There's a lot of corrupt people in the society. What is to wash them up, to look after children? These are our future. Those children are the future of Nigeria. And if lives are adulterated in the way that they are now, there was a little child they asked now. There was all these clips that go on. This was just last week. What do you want to be when you grow up? He said, I want to be a Yahoo boy. I nearly cried. He left home.
Exactly.
Yeah, he left home when he was probably when he was 10 or something like that. He said he's been on the street for 2-3 years. Won't you go home? He said, no, why? Because my mother can't feed me. And he wasn't wearing a shoe. His aim is to become. So tell me what we are going to do if we don't address the government and see who we have as someone on sick, someone who has done drugs, someone who has treated, someone who doesn't even have a name or where it has come from. You say that anointing flows from the head to the toe. Your senators are driving how much cars, and their children have no seats in school to sit down to learn. Where are we going to start?
Thank you very much, Adi.
I don't know. We pray, you know.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your summit. Very interesting. I've picked in a very strong point of what you say. The teacher's hands are tied. It's not that the teacher does not want to do their responsibility. There is no avenue for whistleblower in school, in the ministry. And we have dysfunctional system, and whereby people that are actually responsible, that have the duty of care, are not able to carry out the duty of care because of various people that want to act, that is abuse of power and authority. Absolutely. There are people that are supposed to take those information, act upon those information, but they are abusing their power and authority because whoever is committing that crime is a relation, is a friend, they will not persecute. So we have a big issue on our hand. And I want to give each one of you one more minute, because before we go to the UK system, to the Europe system, not just UK, Europe system, our African children in the care system. We're going to come back. So I want to give, just to round up the African session, 1 minute each. I want to be devil advocate here, because we talk about community responsibility, government responsibility, civil society responsibility, every other person, teachers and everything. But what about the parents? What about the parents that are giving birth to these children that they cannot look after?
But
I'm coming to you, Adi. I'm going to give everybody one by one. What about the parent? I want to analyze this thing. You see people having children that they cannot look after. You're having 10, 12, 7, 4, 5 in this, even now in this our society, the 21st century, that they notice are difficult. This is where the men, the women, people are having children that they cannot cater for. You know what your pocket is. You know what your financial capability is. You look at where you are living. You know this place I'm living is not even fit for human being, even a rat, animal to live. But you still went ahead and have not just one, not just 2, 3, 4, 5. Plenty. These children you are having. They are not even pets. They're not pets. You understand me? You don't treat pets that way. These are full-blown human beings. So I want you all, because this topic, I have a lived experience with this. And I'm very passionate about this topic. Where does our parents come in here? Our father, our community. Do we need to? I know in China they say they put a law where people are not allowed to have. I know a lot of us were criticizing that. They say, "Oh, why are people not allowed to have 1 or 2 children?" But why will people want to have kids that they cannot look after? So I'm going to start with Ogaga, 1 minute. Then I'll go to Nadine and I'll go to...
1 minute will not be enough. I want to give 2 instances. I beg you. But I want to emphasize, to highlight what she said last. So that, because what she emphasized last, when she was talking about a child who wants to be a Yahoo boy, this tells you, it tells you the problem in the society. And I'm happy you also talked about the parents. You understand that reflects what is happening. Now, when I used to have a car I inherited from my late dad, then I went to repair this car. I used to go to work on the AC. So this particular day, the boss was not around. A boy of about 12, 13 years, he came and said he wants to do it. His boss was not around. I say, I better not touch my car. He said he's the boss now. He's the senior. I say, you senior over these big people. He said, yes, now. And people there said, this guy can do it. And I said, but for like the past 1 year I've been coming here, I've not seen you. He said, I go office now. Office. That's the HK. They call it here, where they go for Yahoo, this thing. I say, you, at your age, what class are you? You say, JS3. But I went to office for a year, which means in his old JS2, when he was maybe 10, 11 years old, he was in a Yahoo academy with someone who sent him down there, his parents, for this little child to go and learn internet fraud. This is a topic Nigerians don't like, people talking online. They will hate you. Remember like what she said. So most people don't like talking about it. But this is a fact. We must face it, because we're talking about the African child. This is what happens here. So, but it was not working now, so he came back to his skill and school. Now, that's one. Sometime last year, another 8 student of mine then, I taught in a school. Now, why was he not there the particular term? His mother took him to an HK. They call it HK, Hustle Kingdom.
Hey.
And the dad in Europe had fought, when the dad had heard of it initially, had ordered the police and arrested the the mother, and the boy came out after 8 months. You see how the boy has been missing school. So in the whole SS1 or JS3, he was not available. He now still came. 3 months after, the mother returned him back. I spoke with him as a teacher. He was communicating with me on Facebook. So he said he wants to go to school. He's not even really in support of what the mother is doing. He wants to go to school. This one now, when you're talking about 10 children, there are not many. There are just 4 in the house. So it's not by the number of children.
Even that 4, you check your financial capability, is it?
Yeah.
We're talking about financial capability.
I'll come to that. Some is even just one child. They can't even take care of that one child. I have people who have just one kid. It's difficult to feed. It's difficult to train. So it's not even by the number of children. Now, this particular one, I now agreed to send him. I don't have money, but I had my accommodation money, and the house was not ready, and the WAEC registration had reached. So I said, okay, fine. For the way this boy, his passion to go to school, I would use my accommodation money to pay for his WAEC. The problem now was for getting out of his master's house. The mother refused. He quarried. The mother called. The day he said he was coming for biometrics, I had paid for him to come for biometrics for the WAEC. The mother called the chairman. The person's house he's staying, the chairman of the HK. Do not release him. He now threatened the mother that he was going. I think the biometric was almost over. In fact, we missed that WAEC biometric, so we had to even do NECO later. He now threatened the mother, look, I will go to the police. I will expose you. He came and he put the phone on speaker when he came, and the mother was crying that he's rude. You are not listening to me because I don't have money. It is people you're listening to. That somebody, and the boy just told the mother, you know fee pay for this exam for me. You know fee pay. Another person carrying money pay. You say, make I no write the exam, make I no do. And I just biometrics, so exam never reach. Just to do the biometric exam is like in 2 months' time, which he can actually be writing from his HK. He can still be coming from there to write the exams. But she refused. So it was tug of war to have that, but we missed that one.
What should we be doing to parents? So I want to, because they play a big role.
Auntie Lucy, maybe I'll send you a copy of the Child Rights Act. It covers everything.
So for our audience watching, can you list like 5 things that is parents can be taken into prison if they are not?
Yes, the Child Rights Act covered that. For example, you will even be surprised that there is a Child Rights Act signed by 24 states out of the 36 and Abuja. And mostly these states are in the south. The northern states have refused to domesticate it because some section of the Child Rights Act does not go down well with them. Because when it comes to underage child, you can't betroth an underage child. You can go to prison for that. You can't give an underage child to wedding for marriage. Now, let's look at the south, for example. A child cannot be seen hawking in the street. But if you come down south, you will see children hawking in the street. And you wonder, is there actually a law against this? Come to where I am. You will see children who are in the streets, sleeping in the streets. You know, you have students, you see them in the pedestrian bridge. They sleep. I asked one, he's not even up to 15. Where did you come from? He said, from Warri. Okay, somebody was asking him. The person bought food for him. He said he came all the way from Delta to Edo. Say, how did you come? Are your parents aware? He said, no. How did you come? He said he has heard some people he knew had come like that. So he just found money, entered transportation. And these people allow that kind of child to even pay transport alone to Edo State. And he's in the streets. His parents are now, they are not looking for him.
I'm just looking at it. Let me say something. I understand that sometimes the child, I hawk growing up as a child. I hawk for my mom. You know, a lot of us, we do hawking. We help our parents to sell. I understand when you do that, you know, it was a dangerous situation because you go on the street, you don't know. Sometimes these people that are on this in Lagos, those people that are collecting tankers, they will pursue you. You have to pour the load inside a bag and hold the bag, and you are running with the bag. You know, sometimes you are coming on this, or you are coming back, people attack you on the road. Okay, the child, together with the parents, are struggling to survive. This is where government has failed them.
Exactly.
But I am looking at the way parents have failed their own child. Yeah. Where parents are not, you know, you see, support to child, sometimes it's not all about money. Where parents have to step in as a mother, you know, or as a father, things has becoming sour. When things has become sour, parents have to sit down and call the children together and say, look at life. This is what we need to do to help ourselves. I don't want a situation whereby you become a victim of being abused. I don't want a situation whereby you become a victim of being being taken into maybe something ritual, or being taken into a place that you're not supposed to be. I'm looking at the area of parent responsibility. I know some of them, as poverty cannot allow them to fend for their children, but in the moral side, they need to be there to safeguard their children. Safeguarding their children. Does our parent in Africa safeguard their children? That's what I'm looking at. I don't go any other area. Safeguard.
It's really, that's why these areas I gave, why I gave these instances, tells you what happens in the larger society. That's why I gave these examples, because the parents are involved, because they want these children to go fend, so they will do well, they'll buy land. You see the mothers dressing well. You see mothers are the ones taking their children to spiritual home, to herbalists. Mothers are the ones doing these things so that the children will succeed in these criminal acts. Many parents are the ones doing it. And so you see many parents driving good cars here, building houses. From where?
And their children
that is where also the government has paid too. Let's look at, because we're talking more of maybe people in the cities. How about those in the rural areas that might not have access to this? If we have a responsible government, all this money they have been stealing from Africa, look at Gabon, look at Cameroon, look at Congo, look at the leaders. See the expense, how their children and their family members and these presidents and prime ministers are carrying money from their countries to invest in Europe and America. You can imagine if they put in that money in their country, they will attract investors, economy will be good. When I was in nursery school, in primary school then, in the 80s, they were providing us with breakfast, they were providing us with lunch. So what happens now? Why are they not doing that? Is it because we don't have the money? We have it. So until we stop this corruption, do they have money to help the families? Yes, but they won't. Why are they not providing loans that parents, mothers can access, especially women? Women are mostly the entrepreneurs. If you provide fund, not to political supporters, not sharing five cups of rice during election time, provide real loans to women in the community, in the rural areas and in the cities. Do you think any mother, only few would send their children to work, only few would send their children to prostitution? I know a father that will see the daughter off, a car will stop, the daughter is going for prostitution work. A girl in secondary school, will be seeing the daughter off. But we're not excusing poverty for everything. But the thing is becoming more because of the rate of poverty and because of bad leaders who think only for themselves.
There's moral decadence.
Yeah, exactly.
Moral decadence, where mother will send the child to Libya and he knows they are going to die in Libya. I mean, it's moral decadence.
Nadine, over to you. Ogaga, let me allow Nadine to come in. Nadine, over to you.
I yield the mic.
Thank you, Lucy. Lucy, I want to mention that I don't know if you guys have been to Africa recently. I know Ogaga is in Africa. We are so many. You know, when you are from a community background as working here in the UK, when you go to Africa, you yourself, you look and you say, who am I going to help and who am I not going to help?
That's right.
You know, when I look at Cameroon, we are 27 million. We are more than 27 million. I'm sure Nigeria could be the double. So when we are talking, you know, these people, you know, making these policies, I don't even, Lucy, it looks like, I'm sorry, my Wakanda sister, but we are really tapping into, I want to believe that we are giving a little bit of our drop of water. But these things that we are talking about, I'm telling you, we don't have a solution. The only solution we have that I believe is that if somebody gets a job from a family, that type of family will work. So would get something to eat, you know. So if we can take, you know, if from each family, one person will have something. I was thinking, for instance, that we that are in the, you know, in the diaspora, if we go back, we raise projects, because even Ogaga is talking about money. If you give a woman money, a woman who is poor, she's so poor that even if you give her money, she's not going to, you know, so there's a lot to do. If you give somebody money without telling her what to do with it and how to run a business, the money will just go to the drain. We have seen, you know, because we are so poor. You know, poverty, it is not just money, it is in our mind. When you see the Father believing, it's because we believe that somebody else can help us. So if we believe that somebody else can help us, we don't have the intelligence of helping ourselves. You know, and I'm telling you, let's tell the truth. We are so many. I'm telling you, Lucy, we are so many. Look, Ogaga is talking about a child who came from Warri. You're still talking about Nigeria. I'm telling you, children from Niger. You see, Niger is how many borders from Nigeria? They are begging in the streets of Benin Republic, Togo. You see all these children.
There are many in Nigeria. Many.
Thank you. You see, where are these people coming from? So, as if we alone in Africa, we were not already in the streets. These children soldiers, if there's any war in Africa now, the first victims are children. It's the children that are going to use first to go and kill. They will drug them and they will give them arms. This is the real story. There are children in the streets in Africa. Not to talk about those who are, you know, servants in homes and, you know, are sent because parents can't feed them, so they just send them like that as servants. Come on now, our society has a lot of problems. You know, the French president said that, why are African people having so many children? And everybody was talking. Because, you know, how, and this is the mentality we are bringing here. How can you tell me that I went to school with a girl in this royal borough of Greenwich? She had 9 children. Why do you have 9 children for? To feed them what? Bread and butter. Can you feed 9 children even if they give you all kind of income support? How are you going to dress them up? That's why they end up, because you cannot look after all of them. They are like this, like little datons. God, please forgive me.
Nadine, this is what I'm saying. I understand there's a lot of things government need to do, but we as parents,
yes,
the young parents coming in,
our culture.
we need to take our responsibility. You cannot,
yeah,
because these children will not be abused if they are not being born into this earth. You understand me?
Yeah.
So it's like we fuel the system to abuse these children, because if you don't have them, nobody will use them. So parents need to take that responsibility. The young one need to come in. We need to start that education, need to go down. The religious leader need to preach that thing. I don't want people going to the church and say, you can buy, you can multiply. Go ye and multiply. There is nothing like go ye and multiply, because those children, they need to be looked after. Don't tell me that one religious say that you can born as many. That is wrong. Yeah. Because we've seen it over the years. A lot of children in Africa, people are having 10, 15, 5, 3, 4. They cannot afford to look after them. Why would you not be able to look after children that you are? Why are they not introducing family planning? Some people will not agree with me. Adi, over to you. Over to you.
The fertile, sorry for me to finish this. The poor bed is fertile. The poor bed, they have nothing to do. They are bored. They just sleep together. That's all. And I have to.
Over to you, Adi.
I mean, you just hit the nail on the head now. Is this still not back to dysfunctional society, where there is no leadership, or where leadership is to your pocket? Like they say, politics of self-interest, right? That is what it is. Because shouldn't they be giving them contraceptives to stop them from having children? Shouldn't the man himself not have hysterectomy or contraceptive? Because he's having children with about 4 or 5 women, and he's not able to look after the women. And what do you want the children to do? He has 5 with this woman, he has 7 with that woman, he has 20 with the other woman. How is he going to feed them? So it's promiscuity as well on the part of the men. Our men are very promiscuous. Let's not go there today, because that's another ball game. Our Nigerian men, African men are very promiscuous. They are so selfish to the fact that one woman is not enough for them. Their eyes are...
Oh God, you're in trouble, yeah.
I don't want to say anything, but the truth is that men are naturally promiscuous.
Oh, well,
from time, men are naturally promiscuous. It's natural.
Let me, because Lucy, I'm going to leave her.
Yeah, okay. Before I didn't want to leave at 9, I'm going to bring you back to the African children in the care system.
Of our African traditions, when it comes to these children that cannot be looked after.
Yeah.
There are no families there now to send any child to, because the family too haven't been able to feed their own child. So they won't go. Then the girls take to prostitution. Even there are male prostitution now. Oh, for crying out loud.
Okay. I'm gonna come this way, because I didn't need to go at 9, and we're gonna round up very soon. I'm gonna bring it down to the UK chapter. Over the years, we've seen a lot of our children being taken into care. African children being taken into care, whereby they are taken away from their parents. This is a civil country. Maybe because of one thing or the other, their parents break the law. The child, that is, this is functional country. Let me say, they give you law, you must follow the law. Not like, back home, they don't even, they forget that they don't even know that they even have a child act right. And you come here and you fall victim. Also, as the African country has also not educated their children, so is the developed country also. They also have their own fault. Because over the years now, we've seen a lot of inflow of people that come through the care system. I'm saying this as the chair for Nigerian Community Greenwich. I know a lot of people from Africa has actually come into the system, through their job, through students. There is no orientation. People are coming from a place where law is not being kept, lawless. You understand me? They don't even follow what is there. They don't even know what is a child right. They don't even know what is their proper responsibility to cater for their own child. And when they
off your mouth, There is the Nigerian man who came, traveled all the way from Scotland to come and meet a young girl under 13 years old in Leeds.
Yeah.
All the communication they follow, I think I said it in one of my programs.
Yeah, you did.
They followed. When they got to the station, they just handcuffed him.
Yeah. So you have people coming in here. I understand that there was somebody sent me a link about government allocating funds to educate and support people that have just come into the care system to settle in. And this fund include education, making them to understand the system, informing, because you cannot just bring people in. People come in here and you don't let them know what the law is, what they're expected to do. You just believe that they are adults, they should know. You've forgotten that where they are coming from, there's nothing like adults you should know. They are coming from where they don't, there's no guideline, no safeguarding. You understand me? No even single first aids. Some people don't know that you have to apply first aid. And there is this fund. And this will now go back down to local authority in different developed countries, including Europe. I discovered that some borough did not even apply for the money. This was given by Home Office. Some borough did not even bother to apply for the money. And they have flock in of people from different parts of the world. I'm opportune to join a training for Ukraine, the Ukraine community that are coming into England. Some of them coming to my borough. And I saw the packaging of support that was allocated to the community so that they can settle down, so that they can understand the system, so that they cannot be, Ukraine are already in developed country anyway. Then they are now migrating from developed country to another developed country. So they will know some certain things they're not supposed to do. They are not talking about people from the Asian community, from the African community, from a different part of the third world community, as they call them, they're coming from countries that are not developed into a developing community. And you do not have a care packaging for them. But you will wait for them to commit one single offense and you take their children from their hand and put their children into care. We've seen this has happened over and over, and it's affecting our community. And I am worried and I'm concerned that if you really want to support that child, even in the law of every child matter, it says children are best being supported when they are in their family or in their relative care, instead of you taking it to a strange place. We understand that some people that commit some offenses, they're not supposed to be in their child. But what is the government of the developed country, of Europe, of UK doing to educate and support a lot of African migrants that are coming from their own that undeveloped country into their developed UK country? What are you doing to support them in terms of educating them, instead of making them to become a better parents as you want them according to your law and order? So over to you.
They are putting their money in something different. Very early in my profession, you know, I used to, of course, you know, I don't know, I had eye for teenage pregnancy or underage pregnancy. I had to, as a pastoral care too, I had to say to one of my pastoral colleagues, I said, look, that girl is pregnant. He said, how do you know? Of course, I can't be part of the system to say she's pregnant when I'm not a medical doctor and all that. Who would believe me? My mother came to school and blah, 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 whatever. The mom eventually that wanted to face me and all that started crying. Oh, please help me. I got pregnant at 13. She's now 13, she's pregnant. I said it the other day. When I was living in Willesden, I was just driving through the station. Look at this girl that the mother came and eventually was asking us for help, was pushing a pushchair. She's had a daughter again at 13. So I had to say, I go to meetings, sometimes I talk, people don't listen. So sometimes I go and I don't say a word anymore. I even said that the government education should set up, with all in communities, of course, hubs to educate these little young children. That
and their parents, and their parents.
Yeah, and their parents, of course. I mean, 13-year-old, 13 years to come. Before the girl is 13, the mother should be there educating them, telling them the do's and don'ts, and the responsibilities you have when you have a child. Lucy, you know, I had a child, my life was tied down. Today, I told you, if you tell me to dress up to come out, you are looking for my trouble. You know, because while the boys were growing up, and in my job, I have my holidays and all that, I'm with them 24/7. I don't let them go anywhere without me. Now they can do what they like because they're grown up. But then, school holidays, I'm with them. We're going abroad, we're together. You know, husband is working, you know, his mother. So the responsibility comes to the mom. I will take the kids off to my sisters in Europe. My husband is working, right? Typical tradition, isn't it? You know, this traditional stereotype of you woman bring out. So even in England, it's happening. So the government should come in, like you rightly said, to support those families in their homes, not taking them to somewhere where they will even be abused. I mean, did you not hear plenty of the Reverend Fathers? They go to these places where they keep them, or they spike their drinks. They, you know what happens, you know, get them into nonsense, and the child may be regretting leaving home, especially those who are phoning their parents now. I just raised my voice. She's shouting at me. You know, they take you away. You're going to suffer. So if this education is given by the government itself, at least for Europe, for England, the problem will be reduced. And that education you said about those who come in is very, very crucial. Very, very, very crucial. Because sometimes too, their parents take advantage of the system. And later on is chopping your nose to spite your face. That happened to them. Because this is England. So I won't talk again. I will talk. I told my children, I said, you do nonsense. They call me. You come home. I put your head inside the toilet. I will flush it. Then the father will come out and say, you're going to flush it when the thing is clean. No, you flush it when he has just done the thing. You put his head there. You know, we're quite well behaved and conducted. And we did. Now, did you see that the law? You can't even slap again. By changing the law, you can't even touch again. And then when you bring our children from Nigeria that has come from, or Cameroon, any part of Africa that has come without discipline, give them 6 months. They're on the road. Is it not the government that should know to marry the cultures, to make these children responsible? Are they doing it because they are not white children? But the white children are having problems in school as well. You know,
they're having, but it's not as high as the Black community. You understand me? It's not as high.
Every Black child is suffering. Black teachers not suffering. Black adults who are in position in offices not suffering. Don't you have that attitudinal racism? Racism is in different categories now. There's attitudinal. I've always said that. I say, yes, it's the attitudinal racism that you can't deal with. Because, you know, at the end of the day, you are talking, the person won't answer you. When another person that is them start talking, they will be answering. What is that? Doesn't that affect you mentally? Of course, it does affect you mentally. So our children come and learn the wrong culture, and there's a clash in culture, which affects our own children. Because as much as we do the job, Lucy, you cannot call out an African child and start advising the child as a professional. You can't. So your hands are tied too. We're talking about what teachers should do in Nigeria. It's in Africa. It's the same thing here. Your hands are tied. You can see. I mean, come on. Wisdom has been thrown out of the wind. You know, spirituality. Like I said, I can see a child that is pregnant because there's a way, you know, they glow. You know, the child you've been seeing every time, you will know that you don't go do bad thing and therefore something is happening there, but you can't speak it out. You know, If you can even go to the mother, even when you go to the mother will probably take you to her, so a lot of things are not working out for good as far as I'm concerned. Maybe because we went to a boarding grammar school where there was that discipline. And I was just sharing with some of my students. I said, look, that discipline didn't hurt me. It made me a good person that I am. So this country, the laws are not, I don't want to talk too much, I'm on social media, but the safeguarding, every little thing. Do you know how much safeguarding has changed from when it was brought into inception? Every time there's this, even parents, you can't talk to your child. How can you be fostering a child? They come back late, you can't tell them off. If they don't do homework, you can't tell them. What kind of life are they? Is it not the older person that teaches the younger person, boundaries and structures? They don't want structure. I did a program the other day. I was talking about digital diet. I sent it to you. I was talking about digital diet that will feed our children. If a parent doesn't have the responsibility of directing what happens, they are on that thing 24/7. And I even told them, I said, it even affects your nervous system, your tendons and everything. You are that. Can't you leave that and go to computer, do something, go to this 1 hour, leave the phone at home, go for a walk? Do you know you take phone from some children, you have killed them.
They will fight you.
Hey, you are what? Anyway, I gotta go. At any rate,
thank you, Adi. Thank you, Adi, very much for that your summit. And we actually take that on board. That the importance.
Said it. We have a problem. Chief said it. We have a problem. We are not in position. We need to look at ways how we can get to these leaders we have.
Thank you very much, Adi, for that. I'm going to go straight to Nadine. We're coming to an end of our program. Nadine, over to you. I know me and you, we've talked about this issue over the years, the lack of induction, the lack of support, the lack of, again, how you talk about how does those parents assess those information? But it's not the issue of the parent assessing the information. These are people coming from places that there's no rules and regulation. Things are not working the way it's supposed to work. And they came in here. And I was expecting this government to put something in place that will support this family, teach them the law, teach them, not to say go and read online. It's not about saying go and read. There is a book online, go and read one English. No. There's not everybody that can read and understand. Some people need to be taught. Some people need to be explained to so that they know how to. They need to be. I'm telling you, look at the issue of the Ukraine. There is a pampering around them, making sure they settle well. So why are people that are coming from the African community coming to this country? They are coming. You give them right to come here. You give them visa to come here. You, even the one that came through whatever way they come in here. Why are you not providing that support for them so that they can be able to understand the system? Because the number of our children in the care system is just too much. It's too much. And it's not about the parent, but the destruction, the trauma it gives to that child. We've seen over the years, children that are being in the care system, they've come out, they are complaining, what the difficulty they face, the challenges they face. So what is your take on this?
Thank you, Lucy. These are the things we often talk about. Why are migrants here? Migrants are here because they left their country for one reason or the other. So I wrote in my dissertation when I was doing my degree, what are the barriers? I addressed the issue. Yes, I did the research around what are the barriers which are preventing parents from the ethnic minority group from accessing mental health services camps. So the barrier is with us and with the local authority. The services, we need to know that the services in the UK were not designed for us. This is not our land. We just came here. The services were not designed for us. But when you have been in the UK long enough, you understand that even the British born don't know where to get help. They don't, nobody knows when they are in trouble where to get. Yeah, people will, at the end will know where is a job seeker, job center. But, out of job center, there are so many other agencies that are supposed to help. I know doing community work, we've had many charities, trying to bridge that gap, because the local authority can only do his own. So we need people, the Turk Center, charities, civil society organizations. We need all these people to come and bridge the gap. But this is the biggest problem. The biggest problem is that we don't know how to love children. We don't even know how to love ourselves. Okay? We often think in Africa that when you cook and you put the food there, or if you buy children's shoes and clothing, that is taking care of them. No, a child needs more than that. A child needs more than that. And also we have this neglect and abuse system that we do. We are so many in Africa that the community, just like Ogaga was saying, the community often comes in support of us. Now, when you are in the UK, that community is no longer there. At home, if we are too many in the house, the auntie can bath the children, But if you don't have that support anymore, and that you're left alone with your children, that you are not able to do that. And that's how neglect starts, okay? Then there is not enough food. And also we have this system. We are Black people. We go to church, we go to party, we want to dress. So if the little money that you're receiving, instead of feeding the children, you go and buy all the designer bag and the designer shoes and all that, your children will have bread. Or sometimes, if you have one child that eats more than others, we know that. We know that we have families where a particular child, he goes in the kitchen, he eats everything, and everything is finished. You see? And this is how very quickly, children would then say, okay, there's no food in the house. Let me just go outside and be doing one thing or the other. And these things start from the school. From the school, you see, even this children, allocation money that they give, it's just £3. With £3, you just buy the food. You don't have the juice with it. Sometimes you don't have the dessert with it. It's really, really the poor child meal. Honestly, these free meals that people are advertising, free meals, is really, really, the strict minimum.
Some of the food are appalling. If you see some of the school meal, you can't even eat it.
Thank you. Now, we also have to talk about disability or non-disability. You see, when the child, cannot sit down, you see, in Africa, we have space. You see, that's why in Africa, it's very difficult to diagnose any autism or any ADHD. There is space. The child runs, and most of the time is outside. It's not around the mother. It might come around the mother to eat. Yes, but here you bring people, they are in flats. They are such a secluded environment that the child is bored, and there his behavior comes out. You start beating him because he's not listening. Don't beat him, because when you beat him, you think you're talking to him, he's hearing. He's not hearing because his behavior is not normal. He doesn't do that because he wants to be naughty. It's just because there's something that is dysfunctional within him. So when they beat them like that, because they are unable to understand the behavior of the child, because the child was running everywhere, suddenly you are in one environment. And the parent
gets into trouble.
Another thing that we need to know is that some people gave birth to their children and they managed to come to Europe and left the children behind. Now, it could be an illness, that the child is born with, but it can also be the trauma that when you left him, that people were beating him, people were doing whatever. Now that it comes to you, he wants attention. He wants you to love him. He wants you, but there has been detachment. There's been detachment. You don't connect anymore with your child. Your child wants the real mother, because he's been suffering in the hand of the other person. You don't understand it. And that's why, look at it, 75%, 80% of family reunion, I swear to you, whether you see them from church or in the community, these boys are in prison, even girls. Why? Because you will start beating them and you will start telling them that you did him a favor to bring them to Europe. We need to stop that. Il faut qu'on arrête de dire aux enfants qu'on leur a fait une faveur de venir en Europe. Quand tu mets un enfant au monde, il faut prendre soin de ton enfant. Tu ne peux pas dire à ton enfant que, oh, tu as la chance, tu es en Europe, tu es en train de manger, les autres là-bas ne mangent pas, et ceci et cela. Don't do that. You brought your child into this earth. You need to feed your child. Don't tell your child that you brought him in Europe and it's a favor. Then he's going to tell you a favor, I will put pepper in your eyes. So, I know people, I know people working in cares.
Yeah.
In care, jobs, in terms of support, youth support. And you can see the mothers for these boys that are out there carrying knife and things like that. Mothers cannot even go to court with their boys. This shows you how the boys have been abandoned. This behavior sometimes is calling them, Mama, I want you. I want just a little hug. Mommy, I want to talk to you. Mommy, I want you to cook me a better food. Mommy, I want you to do me real chicken. That's why they go in the shop and buy the chicken, because they don't even have it in the house. Mommy don't care. Mommy doesn't care. Mommy is just there, her hair, her nails. My dear, how much is nails? If you are on income support or you don't have enough money, you go and do nails, 40 pounds, 50 pounds, twice, twice a month. What are your children going to eat? Come on, women. Attendez, essayons un peu de réfléchir. On ne peut pas continuer. On ne peut pas continuer comme ça parce que nos enfants, c'est notre responsabilité. It is our responsibility to take care of our children. The system, you know what? It is not pleasant to the system to take the children. We need to know that. For the social services to remove your child is the last resolution. They always try to mediate that situation, but they sometimes take the children away to protect the children or even to protect the parents, because sometimes we are too negligent. I'm telling you, Lucy, it hurts me a lot. You know it hurts me because we cannot continue as Black mothers not to care. We go to church, we pray, we wear heels, we put makeup, and our children cannot eat. That's not on.
Thank you, Nadine. See, guys, I'm going to take this one out. You can see my hair. The reason why I'm doing this, I want you guys to see. A lot of us spend money unnecessarily. The little money you have, Nadine raised something about, we will go and put nails, put artificial hair, do makeup, do all those things, party. A lot of those that go to party, you know yourself, we are talking to you. This month talking about the African child, not just the African child in Africa continent, but in the diaspora, that a lot of us will spend money on unnecessary things. I started cutting my hair because of my daughter. My daughter come back and tell me, Mommy, I want my hair to be slicky. Because then my hair was pink. And I said, Mommy, I want my hair to be slick. And I look at my child. My daughter was just 3 years old, going to nursery, come back, say my hair is fuzzy. I want it to be slicky. I said, Fatima, where's the slicky coming? I said, there's nothing like slicky. I said, Mommy hair too is fuzzy. You know what I did? I went to the barber and I tell the barber, remove all the slicky so that the fuzzy hair, so that my child can identify herself with me. That is why you start seeing me, I start having this my hair. And I will continue to have it till the day God say my own has ended.
Lucy, that's why I cannot talk made in Africa. I cannot talk Africa and come there and wear another woman's hair. I cannot do that. You know what? Please, so people should hear me tonight. Wear your wig. You have the means for it. Wear your wig. I'm not telling you not to wear the wig because I'm not wearing it. We cannot talk African talk and come there with wigs. No, we cannot do that. If you want to talk Africa, if you want to celebrate as I'm wearing my African material from Burkina Faso today, I wear them from other Côte d'Ivoire, Benin, but this is Burkina Faso. If I want to do that, I also need to show my hair. I cannot come and wear a wig and talk African talk. No, that's a lie. I cannot continue to lie to women.
Yeah, because this is the thing. This is the thing. we talk about responsibility where it goes wrong, where we decided to go to party. When I go to those party, this I'm going to call those Nigerians family. They go to the party. Anytime they invite me to those parties, I don't go. But when they invite me, I know it's a social network for us because we need that social network. But sometimes we do it over the extreme. When you go to that party, some people go almost every week. Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
They're out. Yoruba will call it Owambe.
Yes, they're out. That party, the Ashebi, 300 pounds. The shoe, 200 pounds.
At least, that's the cheapest. That's the cheapest at Shabi. Without sewing. Because the sewing in London is at least 150 pounds. It's not a joke, Lucy. These parties we see, it is not a joke. Where are these women taking the money? Where are these women taking the money?
And you are not able to even take your child to Ramsgate. We now ask you to take them to Spain or to France. So within UK, you cannot go to Canterbury. You cannot say this weekend, if you calculate that money, 200 pounds, you take a train, even 100 pounds, even 50 pounds. You can take a train with your child and go to Canterbury and come back. But you will not take your child for holiday. They will go on holiday. People are going on holiday. Or the summer holiday, Christmas holiday, half-term holiday. You are taking all the shifts that is available. You are taking it. Where are your children? They are not in school. They are young children. They are not in school. You two, you're not at home. You're not supporting them. You're not taking them out. You cannot go for a dinner. Also going to the father. Those irresponsible dads that are flicking themselves, they're doing baby mama. You are flicking yourself. They need to start putting these people to jail. Right? Doing baby mama, jumping up and down, producing children that you cannot father. So there's the one that will be in the house that call himself a father. You say you are a father, you don't talk to your son, you don't communicate with your children. When everybody are sitting in the living room talking, you are there in your room on the phone. On your own, you become lonely at the room, lonely. You are lonely. It's annoying. You are lonely in your own house. You take yourself away from the children. You are lonely. They're doing that lonely. You see me, I am here. I have a family WhatsApp with my children. As I'm here talking to you, I'm communicating with them. I'm communicating. You are there in your house. They do lonely in your house. You don't talk to your wife. You don't do family chat. You don't eat together. You don't go out together. You don't do nothing. You are inside your house. You don't become a sheke. Lonely. You don't want to. This is wrong. This is unacceptable.
I wish Jules was here to speak for the men. I wish Jules was here to speak for the men.
This is wrong. Take your children out. Take them to the park. Spend time with them. Understand them. Take them for lunch. Maybe every time you go cook amala for house, cook pounded yam. Sometimes go out and eat what they want to eat. Those parties, you need to reduce those parties that you are going to. You are spending too much. When I go to that party, not that I do, I am analyzing how much they spend on that party. The hall, how much they pay for the hall, how much they pay for the food, how much they pay for the... You see them, the money that has wasted in that place can actually help that African community to buy their own hall, and put childminder, put care in place, put all those kind of things. But they will not do it. They rather waste the money. Within 10 hours, 100,000 is gone. If you calculate everybody that come there, within 5-10 hours, everything has
definitely.
It's gone. It's wrong.
A lot of money.
This thing is wrong because it's affecting our kids, it's affecting our family. And as much as I want to also condemn the parents, I also need to call on, I need to raise awareness of foreign policy. Agaga, this is where you're going to come and wrap it up. Foreign policy. As part of the reparation of slavery, they said it. It's in the UN decade, as part of the UN and the OAU decade, that part of the reparation of slavery, African living in the diaspora should be supported. You will see funds allocated for the Black community. Some non-Black community, because they know people at the top, they will go and collect that money. You do not know the Black people problem. You cannot solve their problem. It is the Black people that understand their problem. There's a lot of Black organizations. There's a lot of African organizations. Sponsor those people so that they can support their family here, so that they can provide those services they need. You will not help them to set up the organization. You say, oh, the organization does not have this document, does not have this document. It is your responsibility to make sure that those organizations have the right document. Also, banks. We've noticed a lot of banks are not opening accounts for Black organizations. If a Black organization does not have a bank account, how can they get funds from the government to support their community?
Lack of credibility, accountability.
So the credibility need to start from, you need to support them. You need to support them. There's one, you say you take one hand, hit the child, take the other hand and bring it back. So there need to be a system in place to support this organization so that this organization can provide services, can provide those mentorship. Okay, I'm going to allow you just to come in that place. Part of slavery reparation. Just round it up before we go.
Okay, I'll say that, then leave a snippet. Now, we'll have a popular saying here that an enemy does not come into your house except an insider allows him in. There's an insider that would have been collaborating with the enemies. When we look at a lot of crimes, banditry, it's always in collaboration with insiders. Imagine like a state governor releasing a statement saying that the banditry in the north, he's a northern governor, and in the states, that the banditry will not go away because it's a big business. That some governors are involved, politicians, community leaders, traditional leaders are involved in it. And so it can't go away. And so one will also talk about these foreigners treating us bad, the reparation not working. I remember as a kid, I used to read newspapers, listen to news. MKO Abiola those days, he was the one that even made me know about this reparation talk. He was advocating for it. But that man was not allowed to be Nigerian's president. And God knows why. So we have Africans, we have African leaders who collaborate with these foreign powers to impoverish Africa and to make things not to work. If we have leaders who come together for the interests of their people, it will work. If African leaders are doing well, it will work. The stolen wealth from Africa, where is it going? Europe, America. Stolen crude oil from Nigeria. Who is aiding it? Where is it going to? But it's in collaboration with our people. Else it won't work. The Congo War, the diamonds stolen in Congo, the endless war. Who are those stealing it? Who are those arming the rebels? The foreigners. But can they arm their people to come? No. It's in collaboration with our people. So until we begin to have leaders who have the interest, like Gaddafi was doing, I don't know how sincere it was, but at least he was advocating for a united Africa. If we have that, why not? If they see that your house is united, would it be easy to penetrate? No. So imagine the entire African Union coming and passing a strong statement, passing resolutions, and standing by it. That reparations will come to Africa. Fine, it will work. See the stolen wealth going, African leaders going to build houses in London, in Dubai. If those people don't want it, will they work? How is Switzerland surviving? with stolen funds from Africa and other parts of the world with their secrecy acts, in their banking secrecy acts. Monies go to Panama and other nations. What do they even call those names? Is it, I've forgotten what they call those names. I'll remember again. Because they are aiding it, is improving their economies while we're suffering here. So it's because our leaders, our people enable them. So they go there, they live large. When elections come in Africa, they influence the elections. They see clearly that an election is rigged. They tell you it was free and fair. So it's a problem. So we need to be united first. We need to have leaders who will say no. Then that reparations will work. For example, look at artifacts being brought back to some parts of Africa and to like Edo. Why are they repatriating them? Because the traditional institution like in Edo insisted, with the support of the government, with the support of Nigerians and Africans in the diaspora, if that would work, why would reparations and others not work? Then finally, Auntie Lucy, you see this issue of people having so many children they can't take care of. It's not the major problem. But I just want to give you an information. Latest information you might not be aware. Nigerians are not open to producing so many children again. Discuss with Nigerians here. You will see, ask this generation, they are getting married. Ask how many kids do they want to have. They'll tell you 2, 3. And what is also helping this orientation? The high rates, the cost of the economy, poverty. People have really seen the pains. High rate of taking care of children now. School fees skyrocketed. Cost of basic meals. And so people are struggling to feed the little they have, pay their educational fee and their other welfare services. And you tell them to want to have so many. It's not working like that. But the problem is not majorly with producing so many children, but it lies with the government, because the resources we have in Africa, the wealth we have in Africa is more than sufficient to take care of the population, the young population, children. It's enough, more than enough to take care of generations to come. So the problem is with the people who are stealing it off. Look at Japan and some countries today. They are suffering from problems with population. They're having older populations. Even China, that if you produce more than one, you go to prison. They are now beginning to open up in some areas in Japan to allow them to have more than one, even more than 2. So it's a very dicey issue. We need to be very careful. You understand? With whether we discourage having so many children or not. Because we don't know how it will be in the next 50 years. If Africans begin to have a less population with even the situation now, we don't know how it will be tomorrow if corruption is not off. And many nations are disturbed with the high population of Africans. And they will do anything possible to see that our population reduce. But the question I would ask, to what gain? How many years do they want to live in this world? So that's my take. I think I enjoyed today. Now, the next edition, I'm sure, I think that will be the last for the month. I'll put on, I think I'll have to dress this thing. This clothes, this African, this thing, I go wear a full.
Yes, you need to. You need
You
to.
have to. You have to.
They don't call me chief. They don't
You
give
need
me
to
chief.
come African. Let me show a little bit of my outfit. This is
You see
from
my
Burkina Faso.
Imagine. You see, so next edition, I think next week's edition, I should come full regalia.
Even all the, you see, if you don't have any, I have them. They are for sales here. Eh? Those of you that don't have, you must wear something. You have the bags. Everything is available.
Not small. With your, my
have
mama
you have the trouser.
Everything Africa, made in Africa, made in Africa. In London.
For those of you that are watching, if you're in UK, our African pop-up market will be in Woolwich Library on the 23rd and in Kidbrook Community Center on the 25th. So we don't only come and deliberate. We are all skilled African women where we produce our own item, we make our own item using African products.
Serious entrepreneurs,
female entrepreneurs. We believe that we have that skills, using our resources to do something. Thank you all for listening. It has been an amazing discussion today, and I am pleased. Yes, Ogaga, on your point about the population, I don't have a problem with population. All I'm saying that parents should have children that they can cater for, because at the end of the day, whatever we are doing today is about for the best interest of the child. For the best interest of the child. So you know your capability, you can be able to study what your income will be for the next 10 years. So you plan, it's all about planning. You understand? No, sometimes it's difficult for us to plan, but the way the society is going, the way the country is going, the way the global war is going, we need to plan, so that our children are not made victim of those that want to abuse them. So that we don't actually feed the abusers using our own children. So we need to plan, so that we cater. No more that want to see their children being abused or being taken away from them, or their children in poverty, they cannot afford, they cannot provide for them. No parents want that. But sometimes we need to apply wisdom in everything we do. Apply wisdom. Apply wisdom. You know so they say, what is it called? Don't catch your chick before the ash. So you take your time. You know the kind of government you have, both home and abroad. You know the kind of government you have, you know. So you are planning, your government are planning their own. You don't want to fall victim. So you need to have plan A, plan B. Don't fall victim. And my last comment is all this Commonwealth. That is another key point. All our leaders that attend Commonwealth meetings, I don't know what you're going there to do. I don't know. This African child agenda is something very serious. When you go to those meetings, you see the UN have it in their law. I don't know why it's difficult. If you know you cannot go, if you go to those Commonwealth meetings, those UN meetings, you go there and sleep. You cannot talk. Don't go. It is better that you are absent than for you to be present and we don't know why you are present. You understand me? They say if you are not on the table, you are the dinner.
It reminds me of the Cameroonian president attending a summit in, I think, was it in Paris?
Yeah.
And he was asking which people, who are these people? You remember that?
You don't wake up for sleep.
He was in America. He asked if important people were around.
It's so embarrassing. So, wow, they sleep every time.
I hope those that have listened to us, they've learned a lot, and we too, we are happy to learn. Our next event, what was the topic for next event? That is on the 22nd, is it? Our next talk show for the African month is the 22nd, I believe so. Let me see what is on the 22nd. Abaga, do you have your paper there?
Yeah, I want to check it now.
Okay, I think I've seen mine. So the 22nd, what we are talking about, women leadership. We are talking about leadership and development in Africa.
Yeah, because men have failed. It's time for women to take over.
It's time for women to take over Africa.
It's not only women. Women self even take it for African women, I guess. But see, no, Auntie Nadine, sorry, Auntie Nadine, let me make one point before we go on this issue. You know, over the decade, so much attention has been paid on the girl child. And I understand because the girl child, right from the beginning in our culture, even in the Bible, the girl child has always been kept in the background. You know, even if you read the Bible, the woman is under.
Because she's the leader, Ogaga, because she's the leader. So because you guys are fair and that you have not delivered, it's about time that you give the women the opportunity. So
you
on
have
the
not
22nd,
delivered.
we're going to discuss that.
When the ETA woman matter, that's all they like to fight. More than
No.
More than calm down. They two against one. But let me make this point clear.
Make your point. Make your point. You are 2-1 today. 2-1.
But so much attention has been paid that in the process, what you are trying to correct, you are now making that same mistake with the boy child, so that the boy child has now been abandoned for the crimes their fathers committed. So much fund is put into educating the girl's child. So much things are organized for the girl's child, but the boy's child kept in the background.
We're talking about leadership. It's leadership.
But it encompasses everything. That's why I'm saying that so much attention has over the decades.
You have a point, Ogaga. You have a fair point because
now. Yes. We are forgetting that the male children are suffering in silence.
They are. Yes, it's true.
A lot is now happening. A lot are depressed, but they cannot talk. With even culture adding to it that the man does not cry in public, does not talk. And now they are being disadvantaged gradually.
So, and that's why my debate, Ogaga, my debate with Lucy has always been that women should rise. We should rise because we who talk about domestic violence, we are the one who are raising the boys.
Holistic vision.
Yes, we are raising the boys. So it's about time now that when we talk about leadership, it has nothing to do with politics. It has something to do with the mother being a leader in the house where she's raising the boy and the girl, giving these two people the opportunity to also be leaders in the society. Yes, that's what, because
we're not going to discuss that now. We're not discussing this now. This is on the 22. This is Ogaga, hold on. We're not having this conversation today.
But let me just make one point. I think what we should have in debates and in advocacy should be women like you that have this line of argument, not women that claim to be feminists.
Yeah.
Do you understand? Not women that claim to be feminists and they get it wrongly, what feminism actually is.
Okay, when we on 22, we will know about that, guys. I just want to say thank you. I know if we allow Gaga, it's going to press on it. This is our topic for 22. 22nd of May. We'll be here live at 7 p.m. Myself, we have another special guest joining us in. So it will be a very bigger debate. Women in leadership. What do you think? Do you think we've allowed the African men too much on power to rule Africa, to bring Africa to a point of the 21st century? Have they failed? Is it high time our women rise and become in the no, we're not tossing power. We're talking about giving them the opportunity to sit on various levels of power and make decisions, even down to the grassroots, because grassroots also you have leadership in grassroots, down to their home, in their house, women to have that leadership control, to be able to take action, to be able to take responsibility in economic, in decision making, in actually going out there to start up their own business, in actually going out there to educate themselves, get a job, to speak for themselves, to be able to represent the whole home. I've been to a lot of school meetings where I go there and I see the mother cannot speak, is waiting for the for the husband to come and help. And if the husband is not there, she doesn't know what to do, where direction to go. So that holistic approach, getting our women out there. So guys, thank you all for listening.
We're also going to talk about women as breadwinners, and that this is a big taboo. Because when we talk about leadership, we need to position the woman in a position of leadership, because at the moment, many women earn more than their husbands. Many women earn than their husband, but that should not. We should be very, very, very careful to well balance the leadership. What we are talking about, leadership. That mother who protects, that mother who empowers, that mother, please.
And also the mother empower the husband too. They empower the wife. They empower the man.
Empower the husband, because sometimes the man doesn't have direction. He might think that, oh, I need to go and work in an office whereby he has a skill as a carpenter. So his wife has to boost him to tell him that, listen, money is money. Even the one that washes cups, when he puts his money in the bank, he hasn't got different color. Money is money. Exactly. Even if you're cleaning, you're sweeping the road, when you want to buy your house, they are not going to ask you where you got that money from. You show that you're working, you're working. Whether you wash cups or whether you killed animals, whatever, you're a butcher or whatever, you have your money. So we need to empower our men to go to work, because many men are living with women, you know, just being taken care of, not being men, because they think that they don't have skills. You can go and work anywhere. You need to be a man. You need to continue to be a man, because your wife is your wife, it's not your mother.
Guys, I want to say thank you all for being part of this show. It has been amazing. We've gone over all of our time, but because it is such an important topic to be discussed, and I hope you all have enjoyed. Those of you that are not able, you can go to our YouTube page. If you think you come in late, you're not able to, you didn't know what we were discussing, go to our BFEG, that's BFEG Greenwich. That's our YouTube page. You can actually see some of this conversation we've been having. Thank you all. On the 25th of May is the African Day celebration set aside by UN and also the African Union. So we'll be celebrating it at Kibru Community Hub. We have the Edo Masquerade coming to showcase. We have the Nigeria Orchestra. We have our musicians from the Congolese community. We have the Ivorian cooking show. So we are actually bringing all the Africa coming together. And we have a great speaker talking about the compensation for windrush and the African community. We also have our speaker and also presenter from Benin Republic talking about the African artifacts. On the 25th of May, we are bringing Africa to Kibrook. Wherever you are, free to join us. Go to our website. There's a ticket there. You can get your ticket. There's also a ticket on Eventbrite. This month is known as the African Month, and we are celebrating it in grand style. From June to September is known as the African Festival, and there will be activities across different parts of our borough. Thank you all for listening. And it is me, your host, Lucy Isaiah. I am the CEO of Black Female Entrepreneur, and I hope to see you guys soon. Next week on the 22nd of May. Thank you all my guests, Ogaga calling a great writer and a great speaker from Nigeria, and also Nadine representing our French community. My beautiful sister is from Cameroon. And before we go, we'll give her 1 minute to just say one word to our Francophone community, and we'll say good night for today.
Alors, je vous invite le 22 mai, à venir écouter la différence qu'il y a entre le leadership politique et le leadership de tous les jours. Ne manquez pas ce jour-là. Venez suivre ce débat-là. C'est vrai que je parle beaucoup en anglais. De temps en temps, je parle un peu en français, mais nous allons aussi avoir d'autres programmes où nous allons vous dire ces choses-là en français. Nous vous attendons le 22 mai. N'oubliez pas, c'est à 19h00. Merci.
Merci, au revoir. Bye. Ogaga, you know what, greet us for your language.
Oh, Wado, Tode. Asiere.
Good night.